Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to show you guys how I made this tumbler. It is my personal tumbler and I absolutely love the design. And also I am doing a giveaway because I have hit 2.5 thousand subscribers, and I know it's not much, but that is a huge milestone for me. And I just want to say thanks and give back to everyone that has been so supportive of me and getting my channel going. So here is how to enter the giveaway. You just subscribe to my channel, join Brittany Barnes Boutique Tumbler Epoxy group, and there will be a pinned post in my group. You can comment a way that I have helped you in the past with making your tumblers, or give me some advice, whether it be positive or negative. Just let me know how I can improve my channel or what you like about it. And then after you finish that, just come back here to the YouTube and comment done. And on the 31st of July, I will pick a winner, and the winner will receive a box of all of my favorite things. So anything that you have heard me brag about in my tutorials will be in this box, plus lots of other fun stuff. So without further ado, let's get started on this tutorial. So as you see, I have already applied my glitter. This is Huntress from PDB. It is absolutely stunning. It is a camo glitter, and it is the sparkliest camo glitter that I have ever seen. And I am covering that with a little extra ink epoxy. I applied this glitter using the epoxy method. Almost all of my prior videos that I'm using glitter in goes over how to apply your glitter using the epoxy method. So if you want to see that, check out one of my prior videos. So I'm going to apply this coat. Once this is dry, I am going to sand all over, paying a lot of attention to the bottom and the top rims, just to get them nice and smooth. And then I will do another coat to get a smooth, slick finish. And the reason that we're doing it this way is because when we apply our printable vinyl sunflowers, we're going to seal that with a matte clear spray paint. And in order to do that, we have to have a smooth surface underneath without any scratch marks from the sandpaper, so they will not show once we apply our next layer of epoxy. Okay, so here I have my Etsy page pulled up. We are just going to start from the very beginning on getting the sunflowers exactly how we want them. So I'm going to download the file from Etsy and save it to my photos. Links to both of these files will be down in the description below, as well as a full wrap if you want to skip all of these steps and just do a full wrap on your tumbler. I will also list that below, but we're going to pull over to Cricut and upload this file. I'm going to select complex so we get the most detail possible. And then once I have that pulled up, I'm just going to select the black part and remove it. So all we're going to be left with is the flowers. We want to print and cut these images and then upload them to our page. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. Once you have it uploaded to your page, this is a seamless design. So you can measure the dimensions of your tumbler and just resize the entire template to the size of your tumbler, and you can piece together the sunflowers on the back side, and then of course just place them as they are on the design itself. The way that I like to do it is to create individual flowers so I can resize them as I like. I can print out some additional ones just in case I have any mistakes, which I usually do. And I can put more on one sheet. So I have just zoomed in or cropped this little set of sunflowers out here, and then I'm going to erase everything else that was in the background. I know this is more work, but for me personally, it works a whole lot better. And as I said, it gives me some extra flowers after I print out my sheets. So I would upload these individually into my workspace, and I will show you here what mine actually looks like once I have completed that. So you see I have 2 attached sections of sunflowers. Now it has to be to a certain dimension when you were doing smaller prints to print out and cut using the Cricut program. This is all that I use, so I'm not exactly sure how the Silhouette program works. It may just be a little different. And as you can see, the image needs to be sized to 6.75 by 9.25. Now, how we're going to get the most out of that little section is we're going to add in a shape. I add in my square, and then I'm going to size it to those exact dimensions and pull all of my sunflowers into that box and then attach them. Once I have finished that step, I am going to select Make It and pull it over to my print screen. Be sure to be connected to your Cricut so this feature will work. I have my printable vinyl here. I will link that in the description below as well. We are going to put that into the printer, head back over to my computer, and select Print. Now you want to have that little toggle button for Add Bleed on. That is going to extend the boundaries of the sunflowers or whatever design you are printing to allow a little more area for error on the Cricut's part whenever it is cutting the sunflowers out. And once this has printed, I'm going to line it up the same way that it is shown on the Cricut program on my mat here, so I can put it in the Cricut. Now you want to have a good sharp blade. It does not have to be a fresh one every time that you cut vinyl. I have found that the Cricut vinyl is really difficult to get some clean cuts out of. But the brand that I use, I have been really successful with. Sometimes there's a little cleanup, but it is very minor compared to what I have had with other brands. You want your Cricut dial set to vinyl, so it is not going to cut through your printable vinyl. And as the second one is printing out, I'm just going to load this in and hit the little flashing button. And at first it is going to just scan over the flowers and the border. That way it can get a precise cut, and then it will begin cutting the flowers out. Once I have both of these sheets cut, I'm going to just remove the border around the flowers. Just be really careful when removing this in case it did miss any spots. You don't want to rip any of your design as you were pulling the background off. I did forget to mention in the beginning how amazing this MH tilt turner is that I have my tumbler on. It is magnetic, so there's no unscrewing the rod, so it makes it super easy to just pop on and pop off. It also tilts up. You see the dial that is on the side, so whenever you are finished turning, whenever you turn it off, a lot of times I like to take my tumblers off and stand them straight up. In this case, you don't have to. You just unscrew the dial on the side, tilt it straight up, and you're good to go. And it is also so incredibly quiet. After I started using it, I had to constantly come back and check to make sure that it was actually turning, because it's so quiet I could not even hear it running. So that's always a good thing. So once we have the border off of these sunflowers, I usually start with the largest flowers and on the bottom and work my way around. There is no special pattern to put these in. Every cup that I do is different. I just kind of play it by ear, because it's not the easiest to remove them, but I can remove them and replace as needed. Usually I only have to do that a couple of times though. And sometimes I end up with a space that I don't necessarily love, and you will see that space once I have this finished. But that's okay, because we are going to do the power wash method to put the white space on here, and that will just cover it right up. Now I'm going to speed this up just a bit, but I am going to show you the entire process of me applying the sunflowers, just so you can see how I place them, how I trim them to put them around the edges, and apply on the bottom. The ones that I put along the bottom and top rim, I try to keep those a little bit smaller, just so there's not such a large area that I have to focus on getting it really flat. So you can see that there's a space between the bottom and where I actually applied that little flower. I want to have a little bit of space there to allow for sanding, and I will do that at the top rim as well. And once I have all of my sunflowers on, I'm going to take Rust-Oleum matte clear spray paint and give it a good 2 clear coats, so whenever we apply the epoxy, we're not going to get those bubbles from the printable vinyl being so porous. It'll seal them up really nicely and we won't have any issues with that. So pretty simple here, just apply another layer of epoxy. When I'm applying on top of any kind of printable vinyl, I try to give a little bit of pressure, not too much that is going to damage your vinyl, but definitely try to slightly push it down into the vinyl. Like I said, sealing it is going to help tremendously, but sometimes there are instances maybe I missed a spot or didn't seal well enough, and just giving it a little bit of pressure is really going to help eliminate any bubbles that may be created from the vinyl just being porous and the air bubbles coming up throughout the curing process. Now, I only have to do 1 coat in order to do the power wash method in the next step. You may have to do 2, but you do not want any grooves or edges around those flowers. So definitely make sure that you have a smooth surface before you move on to the next step. Once that is good and dry, you can move along to the next step. I have my Dawn Power Wash and Iron Lac white spray paint. I do not suggest this spray paint at all. The coverage is horrible. It clumps up. It's like spraying white powder. It may have just been a first bad experience for me, but I just wanted to try something different because the paint that I normally use, which is Rust-Oleum, has been clogging up if it even works the first time. So I wanted to try something different, and it was most definitely a fail. So as you can see, I am just creating an oval shape. My decal that I'm going to apply is about 3 inches wide, so I want a little bit bigger than 3 inches of space. Once you have that on, now be sure to constantly move your tumbler around so your power wash does not start moving one way or the other. And then do a pretty heavy coat, but not too heavy to create runs, with your spray paint, and immediately wash off with water. Now sometimes this does take a couple of rounds of power wash. This I did make a little bit too small, so I went back over it with a second layer. I just extended the boundaries a little bit. It's about 1/2 inch to 1 inch more, and did the same thing. Just make sure that you allow it to dry and then dab off any of the water that is left before you do this again, so you'll get a good clean power wash. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. If you need a couple of spaces just covered a little bit, take a paper towel and spray it with the spray paint and dab it on the areas that you either want to extend or cover up in the center if you don't have as much coverage as you would like. This really looks like a power wash. You could actually do the entire space like this, or use acrylic paint to dab it on if you're not comfortable doing the power wash method. I have did this both ways and I get the same great results. The power wash method can be pretty tedious. I mean, you get a different result every time and you never really know how it's going to turn out. So I actually ended up completely removing this, which I use acetone, and just completely wiped it off and redid that spot, as you can see, and I like this one a whole lot better. So just be patient. I know that's a lot easier said than done, but the results in the end will be amazing. So since I have a rough and not shiny surface, I'm going to do another layer of a little extra ink epoxy, and this dries really fast. It's almost like a fast set. So in about 4 hours, and our temps here in North Carolina, I will be able to apply my water slide. So I'm going to let this dry and move on to the next step. So I have my little Mom Life decal here. I have printed it on water slide and sealed it twice with Rust-Oleum matte clear spray paint. This beautiful tumbler is a 32-ounce plump from the Steel Magnolias, and my decal is sized to exactly 3 inches. I have my warm water underneath. I always use warm water to apply my water slides. It does make them a little more flexible and a lot less likely to crack or break whenever I am applying them. I'm going to place it on the tumbler, just lining it up with the top, and then use a little squeegee tool you can find at any craft store or the dollar store or Amazon. A lot of places have them, and work the water out from underneath and just dry the cup off. Now you're gonna let this dry for a couple of hours, and then we will be ready for our final coat. Once this is dry, I'm going to do another 1 to 2 layers of a little extra ink epoxy to get that unbelievable shine, and we will be finished. As always, thank you so much for watching and all of your support. Don't forget about the giveaway. I will list all of the details in the description, as well as all of the materials and companies that went into creating this beautiful tumbler. I also will list a full wrap. There is actually a sublimation design going around that looks identical to this, and you can print that on water slide and do a full wrap around your tumbler if you want to skip all of these steps. But just look at this tumbler, you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed. I'm so happy that this one is mine, and I am a little extra, so I made myself some matching car coasters and a keychain. I do have a tutorial for both of these, so check out my videos for that. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps me so much. And comment if you have any questions. I usually answer them pretty quickly. Once the giveaway ends, I will be announcing the winner in my epoxy tumbler art group. So stay tuned and we'll see you next time.